Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single day, coming at you live from I'm coming at you live from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with our daily live show. We have an exciting show for you today. We've flipped the script. Forest Friday this week is now Forest Thursday, as we'll be having a packed house tomorrow. Forrest will be joining us in 15 minutes. We're going to talk about a judge ruled against the SEC in the Coinbase lawsuit. What does that mean? How many days does the SEC have? We'll talk about that. Talk about CBDCs. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the $1 trillion coin. Interesting there. But first, before we talk about any of that, I'd like to welcome you to your other co-host, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in my house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and stale information and repackage it up in a fun and sexy way. If you are new here, just a heads up, I'm normally in studio, but a little under the weather still. I'm almost back to 100%, and I'll be back at studio tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah.
So you're not on house arrest. Hendy wants to know if you're on house arrest.
No, but I do have PJs on still, so I am nice and comfy.
Yeah, it must be nice. I'm over here dressed up with a suit and tie, and you're over here dressed like you're homeless.
That's a SBF.
Anyways, guys, before we move forward, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of today's live show, which is Cam's Blue Wire Tech. They provide your business with scalable IT solutions so you can focus on new revenue streams for you and your business. If you want more information, visit the website on your screen or just simply click the link in the description of this video. Now, Robin, know you've been locked up in your house. Some can say you're not necessarily having a good couple days, not yourself. Well, I want to brighten up your day a little bit. I want to show you that it could be worse. It could be worse. Rocco, pull up my laptop. You could be this guy. You could be this guy, and no.
So come on, man. Get out of here.
Don't feel too bad, man. I know it's been rough the last couple of days for you, but at least you're not this guy.
That guy is sick on his own accord, bro. Is he walking out of a bar or a restaurant?
Yeah. Yeah. So have you guys seen the new bathroom signs at the airport? Rocco, you're supposed to wait till I set it up, bro. So this terminal even has a room for shareholders of regional banks. Sorry. Please.
Can I get crickets on this one, please?
Why? This is funny. You don't think this was funny?
The cricket went to sleep.
You don't think this was funny? The cricket went to sleep. This is hilarious, bro. This terminal now has room for shareholders of regional banks. Everyone's praying. It's not really funny. These banks are collapsing. Another couple had their stocks halted today, and we'll get into that here in a second. But I want to move on to this man. God, I can't with his face. I just can't. It says none other than California Congressman Brad Sherman calls Bitcoin Miami 2023 a conference for tax evaders. And this is the tweet. He tweeted that this is referring to 60 years ago, the late, great Robert F. Kennedy went after tax evaders as U.S. Attorney General. Today, his son is slated to speak at a conference for tax evaders. This is on the heels of Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is set to speak as a guest speaker in Miami. Now, I love the fact that, a lot of the positive crypto and anti-CBDC narrative typically has come from Republicans. So I am happy to see people on the other side of the aisle who are running for the top office in the country come out and be pro-crypto, understand Bitcoin, speak out against CBDCs. Robert F. Kennedy is one of them. And I'll tell you this, if this man runs and he beats Joe Biden, which I pray to God he does, and the other side they're less and pro-crypto, I am voting for this man right here. Robin, if you ever had the opportunity to speak to Congressman Sherman, what are some things you would say to him? Would you, What would you say?
I don't know. Those people, they're just, when you get these extremists, because that's essentially what he is, right? He's an extremist against Bitcoin to a point where he doesn't care to listen to anyone else. He has formed his own narrative, and he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. I mean, we can look at gun extremists and abortion extremists. You take all the sensitive subjects, and there's some people that are just so out there. And I'm not saying that what their ideology is wrong. I'm just saying that there's no point in trying to sway their perception, right? There's no point if guy has 50 assault rifles and hand grenades in his garage. If you tell him that, hey man, maybe you should reconsider, he's gonna be like, no. And so I think that this guy is always gonna be a supreme hater on Bitcoin, and no amount of trying to convincing him is gonna ever sway him. So I think that's where he is. So I wouldn't even waste my breath. I would just maybe put some lotion on that head of his, and that's about it, bro.
Rob, I know you mentioned, just anti-Bitcoin people, and Peter Schiff is looked at as an anti-Bitcoin person, anti-crypto. I really think this dude is a closet Bitcoin maxi. The way he talks about gold and Bitcoin, I just close my eyes and I envision the word gold being replaced by Bitcoin. And I'm like, and Peter Schiff's a smart dude. I listen to his podcast. He's a smart guy. And I can't help but to think, and we had this video we tweeted, Peter Schiff literally explaining NFTs and also what happens when you custody your own crypto.
Real quick, before you play that video, gold did just break all-time highs yesterday, right?
2,100, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it was, I don't know the exact number, but yeah, it broke all-time highs yesterday. And yeah, man.
You know what? I'm actually
earlier this week, some point.
Let's take a look at gold real quick on the chart.
Yeah, it was. So, you're seeing with the bank. So with the banking situation, commodities are looking strong, and obviously, our favorite commodity is Bitcoin, but it just goes to show you that the fiat space is bleeding. The banks are shuttering. And the only thing left standing is precious metals, commodities, and Bitcoin happens to be the new age commodity that is easily transferable and digital store value. So I think the fact that gold hit all-time high this week just goes to show you that Bitcoin is probably going to be hitting some big numbers here soon as well. I think the gold hitting all-time high is a precursor to the price movement in Bitcoin. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin and crypto right now. So,
and here's the gold chart, gold per ounce. This is gold on the monthly. It's gold on the monthly, and it did wick to all-time highs to a little under, pretty much $2,080. We did wick up here on in March of last year. We got up to about $2,070, and then just recently we wicked up to about $2,080. And I've taken, this is the pretty much the gold all-time chart. There's in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with holding Bitcoin and gold. Nothing wrong with holding Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Like anything that actually is a hard money I would have zero issue holding it. It's just I wouldn't put all my money and my resources into gold because you're kind of stuck. If you have millions of dollars in gold bars sitting at your house, good luck trying to move, or if you decide to leave the country or decide to use it to pay for something, good luck. It's not very practical, but it's a great hedge against what's about to happen, which is fiat currency just absolutely starting to crumble. And so, yeah. But I want to move on to, I talked about this video I want to share from Peter Schiff. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Whoops. Let me reroute my audio here real quick. Bam, bam. Here we go.
You hit the nail on the head when you talked about a crypto that's actually backed by gold. That works. That solves all the problems that Bitcoiners claim gold has. That, well, I can't send my gold around the world. I can't use my gold to buy a cup of coffee. Well, yes, you can. It's a lot better than Bitcoin. If I have gold stored with any third party, it could be a government, it could be a private company, it could be anybody. You could tokenize that gold and have a Bitcoin, similar cryptocurrency, that is a digital representation of that actual gold. It's like a warehouse receipt, an IOU for gold. And then if I wanted to give you some of my gold, I wouldn't have to ship you my bar. I could just send you my tokens, over the internet. And now the ownership goes from me to you. It's an improvement on paper money. Because again, initially, paper money came as a substitute for gold. I had my gold stored with a blacksmith. And instead of lugging my gold around, my blacksmith gave me an IOU, and then I could circulate that IOU because everybody knows the gold is there. And instead of having to get it, they just circulate the IOU in a paper terms. Well,
here's here's my thing. Isn't that what the gold standard was in the U.S., where it was a bunch of IOUs, paper notes, and then on the back end, the government really didn't have the gold they said they had? Like, at the end of the day, what Bitcoin solves is that third party, right? You don't have to trust the third party. You don't. And the biggest narrative with people like Peter Schiff, and I get it. The whole point is gold. You can hold it in your hand, right? It's tangible, right? It's backed by it being a precious metal. The value of gold is backed by something. People think Bitcoin is not backed by anything, but it is. It is backed by the most decentralized network in the world. It is backed by technology. It is backed by miners. It is backed by billions of dollars worth of mining facilities and energy. That is what it's backed by. And so to some people, they can't fathom that. They can't, in their heads, they don't understand. Maybe they don't want to understand. But here's a couple minutes of the video.
It's much more efficient to do it crypto digitally, and you can take an ounce of gold or a gram of gold and divide it, to tiny little pieces, so that I could buy a cup of coffee and pay the barista with my gold using the token, and it would be faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. And the difference is, when I'm paying with gold, I'm paying with something real. I'm getting one commodity for another. I'm getting coffee, and the guy that sold me coffee is getting gold. And you can actually denominate the price in gold because gold is stable. I mean, it can function much better as a monetary instrument. The only thing that you have to trust the third party.
That's the thing. People trust the third
Like
party.
I said, that's the thing. You have to trust the third party. Rob, before I get Rob's thoughts, let's patch Forrest in. Let's bring him in so he's not waiting, and then we'll get everyone's thoughts here. No? Okay. All right, Rob, share your thoughts.
All right. So, a couple of things. On that gold standard, the difference in the gold standard is that the amount of fiat circulating, you could always print more, right? And then so you could theoretically cause inflation by doubling the amount of notes without doubling the amount of gold. And so what he was referencing was a receipt or basically a voucher for that amount for that amount of gold in, say, ounces. So hey, I have a receipt that gives me 1 gram of gold or whatever it is, versus a fiat note where it's just circulated by the government, and then in turn that can lose or gain value by how many notes are circulating. No different than the circulating supply that we look at on our coins for crypto. With that said, I don't know why he said that gold, or that his tokenized gold would move faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. I think he's not really understanding how all this works, as he's saying you could use it on the Bitcoin network, but it'd move faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. I mean, I think one, you're losing the security. So I think he's not really educated on how crypto works. And then not to mention, he just basically explained a tokenized NFT. Right. That's essentially what he did. He explained a tokenized NFT where you can tokenize a commodity and then just trade it on a blockchain. And that is something that we're going to have more of in the future. And we're going to have tokenized NFTs of oil and electricity, also gold, precious metals, and not to mention identification, perhaps. So, I don't know. I think he's just a hater, dude. He's a hater on Bitcoin, but I feel like he secretly likes it.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He's secret. He's in the closet. Now, real quick, before we bring Forrest on, I want to give a big shout out. Yesterday, someone asked if our company holds any XRP, to which I said no. To then which our friend Redman was like, hold up, wait a minute, we're going to change that. So Redman gave us some XRP. So officially, as a business, we are XRP holders. Big shout out. Thank you to Redman, and thank you to everyone who supports us and this channel. Speaking of support and love and amazing person, I'd like to bring on my favorite co-host, Forrest. Forrest, what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, bro?
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks
Doing well.
thanks for coming on, man. I know what we talked about last week. We haven't broken it to Robin yet, but let's just keep it out of the show today, okay? I'm kidding.
All right.
Happy to have you back, man. How you been?
Doing well. Can't complain. We've got a little meme coin season going on Solana right now, so just trading around a little bit.
What about Pepe, bro?
I faded Pepe, unfortunately. I saw it at a $5 million market cap for the first time, and then I saw it again at a $25 million market cap. Faded.
It's at 700 million now.
Yeah, man.
Come on, Forrest.
Wish I'd have thrown like a couple grand in down at 5 million market cap. That would have been real nice.
That would have been real nice. Now, I want to ask you: did you see the Peter Schiff video we showed?
Part of it, yeah, part of it. A little bit.
Do you feel like he's in the closet fan of Bitcoin? He just, I don't know, maybe for engagement, he plays the anti-Bitcoin guy, or I don't know, because everything he's explaining is like what we talk about Bitcoin doing. I don't get it.
I'd be surprised if he's not hedged in Bitcoin to some degree privately, but his entire outlook, his entire business model, like I don't know if I don't know, he has like Schiff Gold or something like that, and he's like he stands to benefit from gold doing well. And for gold volumes doing well. He's made his entire living in business in gold. He's, I think, like a pretty large market maker, sells gold. So it's like he's just talking his bags. It's no different than Michael Saylor going. He's literally the Michael Saylor of gold. Just talking his own bags. So it's like you can't expect much else. The interesting part though, he does the tokenization of gold. That's already my brother's company is literally doing that. So they tokenized this land that actually has been surveyed for a private company. This private company owns this big plot of land which has been surveyed and is proven to hold a certain amount of gold on it. And you're allowed legally to like tokenize that value at like 60% of what the estimated amount of gold is or whatever. And that's on the Avalanche blockchain. It's private. It's like on a private enterprise implementation of the blockchain, but they're literally tokenizing gold. And it's like you could, trade gold on other blockchains. Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
At the beginning of the show, we were discussing the fact that gold hit briefly crossed all-time highs earlier this week, and we've seen that there has been a general movement between when there's big movements in gold. There also has been big movements in Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin has outperformed gold in the last 10 years. Also, because it grew to the size of the asset it is now, while gold has been in the market since the beginning of the universe. But what do you think, because we were just kind of discussing, do you think that there is a correlation between gold and Bitcoin? And do you think that we're going to see Bitcoin rally, and this might be one of the precursors, one of the indicators that commodities are hot right now, and well, Bitcoin's the hottest commodity when banks go down. So.
Yeah. So I think we briefly discussed this last week. I do think so we saw kind of in the bear market in the large pullback. Gold performed poorly. It performed better than the S&P 500, I believe, but we saw the S&P 500 go down. We also saw Bitcoin and altcoins crash pretty hard as well. So everyone was kind of treating Bitcoin in the drawdown as a risk asset, almost like a tech stock. It was trading like a tech stock. Now it's starting to trade as a hedge against bank failure, similar to how gold and silver is. Gold's doing extraordinarily well right now as banks are going down because people are getting defensive and trying to move off into risk-off assets. So it's interesting that Bitcoin is trading in line with that narrative. But I do think that it gets to a certain point where if things get bad, like I personally think we're kind of in the sweet spot right now where it's like one or two, three banks going down, not necessarily, horrible yet, contagion kind of spreading. If things get really, really, really ugly, to the brink of civil war, people losing their homes like they did in the financial crisis of 2007, 2008. If it becomes, a large scale event, I do think that the tide could turn and Bitcoin could be, treated more as a risk asset, more so because at the end of the day, people have to pay their bills in dollars. And you basically, you're going to struggle to find people with spare money to continue to invest in Bitcoin. And you may even have people selling their Bitcoin to pay their bills if the economy gets bad enough. So I think we're kind of in that sweet spot where if things kind of just, stay mild recession or even, decently normal recession, then Bitcoin could thrive in that market. But if things get really, really, really bad, then I do think people will probably, sell Bitcoin to pay bills, unfortunately.
Now, Forrest, you mentioned, the banking thing. And so a few things I want to share here. First thing here is this is from the Quabasi letter. Definitely recommend you guys follow this Twitter account. I follow it. They put out a bunch of good stuff. Current situation, interest rates at their highest since 2006. Credit card debt set to cross $1 trillion for the first time. And we covered this yesterday. Multiple regional banks on the brink of collapse. Regulators believe system is strong. 1 month away from U.S. default. How can this end well? We have this from Charlie Bolello. PacWest down over 50% after hours. This was yesterday. Set to be weighing strategic options, including a possible sale. Translation, the end is nigh. Why would another bank buy now when they can just wait a few days and get a much better deal after the FDIC takes over? Then we have this. Market cap. This is from Genevieve Rock Dector. Market cap of publicly traded regional banks in January, $475 billion. In May, down to $100 billion. That is a 78% loss in just 4 months. Now tell me, Bitcoin's too volatile. Regional banks are about to go extinct. That's what this tweet says. And then we have this, one more thing, and then we'll kind of discuss this. So this is from CNBC. Regional bank stocks continue to slide on Thursday, with PacWest leading the way, down 50%. The rout in regional banks picked up steam again on Thursday morning, with several stocks suffering sizable losses. PacWest led the way and sank 54% and was halted for volatility multiple times. And again, they are exploring strategic options, including a potential sale. But it wasn't just PacWest. It was other banks as well. Some of them include Tennessee-based First Horizon, which fell 36% after TD Ameritrade announced they were terminating their merger agreement. So TD Ameritrade decided to pull out last minute. Another notable bank, which is Western Alliance, that is down more than 38%. And Zions Bancorp is down about 13%. Yesterday, we had Jerome Powell saying banking system is sound. It's not going to spread. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What do you think the ripple effects will be, maybe in the economy, maybe in crypto? Just kind of share your thoughts. I'll start with Robin first.
All right. We have a very similar pattern here. I liken this to the contagion that was spreading in the crypto sector. However, there's so much more money and so many more institutions that are large that have the potential to collapse that are underwater, that are just treading. The term when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. Well, that term was derived from the traditional market, and so we like to throw it around in crypto and be like, well, we'll see who's got exposure and who's got bad business practices. Well, hey, this is what's playing out in traditional markets. With that said, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that in the very similar way that we didn't see an end to this until the biggest of them all failed. And in crypto, everyone had FTX as this knight in shining armor, the savior. They were buying up Voyager, and it just draws such a similar comparison to what we have here. We have all these big banks. They're so great. They're so amazing. There's no way they could ever fail, and they're buying up smaller banks. The same thing happened with FTX, and then what happened? That one went under, and when FTX went under, that's essentially that was the end, right? That was the final straw. And even if you look back at 2008, there was all kinds of cascading issues in the banking system. It didn't essentially end with the Bear Stearns, but that was at the height, the pit. That was the bottom, essentially. That was when it seemed like it couldn't get any worse. And I think that history will repeat itself. We're going to find ourselves in a situation where these banks, yes, they're big, but they're also regional. I think this is just going to keep happening until something really massive goes under, and then the regulators are like, oh my God, we have to do something now, otherwise it's gonna be the end of the world.
So you're saying this isn't enough? So you're saying, hold on, so you're saying regional banks losing 80% in a matter of 4 months isn't enough for the government to step in and say, hold up, we got to do something?
They haven't done it yet. They said is they're going to insure the depositors. Insuring the depositors. They're leaving the banks out high to dry. So all they're saying is, like, once you go under, the FDIC will come in, take over, and then sell you to a bigger bank. That's the only thing they're doing. And so this is a stark contrast from 2008. 2008, they just gave money to the banks. The Congress passed the bill. They literally gave money to the banks. And then what happened with COVID, they were like, we're not, this time around, we learned our lesson. We're not going to just hand money out to the banks. We'll just airdrop it to the people. And we had, and with inflation, I don't know if they're ever going to, or at least I don't know if in this time period, the way that we're ratcheting up the interest rates, I just find it hard to believe that, especially with split Congress between Democrats and Republicans, that they would come to an agreement to just massively print money. They can barely come to an agreement to raise the debt ceiling. The government is going to shut down, and they can't even come to an agreement there. And I highly doubt that they're going to just turn on a money printer and just bail out the banks and say F inflation, and this is going to be passed by a bipartisan vote, because the Republicans, they don't want to print money. The Democrats, they want to spend more money, and that's kind of where we're at. So I'm just saying that I think it's going to take a big bank to go under to spook everybody before the Fed actually, or the federal government and the Treasury Department, the Fed, all the tools in the tool belt. I think they're not going to wake up and address this situation until it gets real ugly and somebody big goes down.
Boris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I've been saying for the last 8-9 months that the strategy that I've been in favor of is a strategy of diversification, right? Into oil, into commodities, into gold and silver, into some equities, into crypto. And the reason for that has been because there's too many variables that are uncertain. It's impossible for me to sit and say I know what's going to happen with the debt ceiling, that I know what's going to happen with inflation, that I know the decisions that the Fed is going to make regarding interest rates. And all of those things can shake out differently and cause different assets to do different things. So unless you are paying extraordinarily close attention and you're willing to pivot very, very quickly into new narratives and based on the decisions that are being made and things that are happening on a daily basis in the macro econ space, geopolitical space with potential wars and whatnot, there's just so many variables that unless you are laser focused in terms of trading on a day-to-day basis and you're confident doing that, I've been saying diversification. Have some gold, have some silver, have some Bitcoin, have some Ethereum, have some copper, have some oil, right? Have some great wheat, whatever that is, but have some long-term bonds and some short-term bonds, right? Whatever it takes to diversify, I think it's the best hedge against the uncertainty that we're seeing in the market right now. And at the end of the day, I do think it's uncertainty. Look, if interest rates, if the Fed starts pulling interest rates back down, starts cutting, we start seeing the money printer turn back on. Look, gold is probably going to crash. Gold is probably going to people are going to go back risk on and back into stocks, back into equities. So it all just depends on what's going to happen next. And I don't think anybody can reasonably predict with a high degree of certainty what's exactly going to happen next. And I think there's going to be surprises along the way. As far as the banking sector goes, it's unclear how far this is going to spread. It's also unclear to me whether these banks are going under now because of failure to hedge against interest rate risk, like we saw with Silicon Valley Bank, or if it's just depositors getting spooked. Right? I haven't looked at these balance sheets or anything to tell you if how much money these banks have behind closed doors and whether or not they're solvent. So. That's a big question mark for me at the moment. But all things said, diversification is the answer. And diversification sucks. It's not exciting. You're probably not going to 10x your portfolio if it's well diversified, but you're also going to preserve capital and be ready when the opportunities do come.
I agree. And the best thing you can do in my personal opinion is to be prepared, and that's why it's so important to get information, whether it's doing your own research, whether it's watching shows like Sin City Crypto. Now, you guys mentioned, the debt. I think one of you mentioned the debt ceiling. If you didn't, you guys mentioned they don't want to print money. They're not going to come to an agreement, you said, Robin. But there's one person who has an answer to that issue. And that person is none other than Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, as she is pitching, believe it or not, $1 trillion platinum coin that could save the U.S. from economic catastrophe.
She's not pitching this thing.
Hold up. Wait a minute. By the way, Forrest, real quick, before I read on, Forrest, I'm going to ask you for a silver chart. This is from one of our community members. So I'll ask you for that here in a few minutes. But first, I want to read this. $1 trillion platinum coin could save the U.S. from economic catastrophe in less than a month. It would be fast, legal, and no bigger than a regular coin. Wow. Wait till you hear this. Listen to this. The U.S. is hurtling towards an entirely preventable economic crisis, and $1 trillion coin could solve all its problems if the Biden administration decides to take it seriously. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that the government could run out of money to pay its debts as soon as June 1st. Even a short default could cost the country almost 1 million jobs and trigger a recession. Some economists say that means it's time for a break the glass option, which is $1 trillion coin. The coin, which wouldn't need to be bigger than an average coin and can be made quickly, is part of a potential debt ceiling loophole. The Treasury Department can mint platinum coins of any denomination. They have that power. That's led to a school of thought that says Janet Yellen should simply mint $1 trillion platinum coin and deposit it to pay off debts until a more permanent solution can be found. So, what's a...
This is hypothetical. This isn't anything she's proposing.
But it's legal, and it's possible.
It is legal, yeah. It actually isn't the first time they've even brought this thing up.
I know, dude. That is insane to me. That is so insane, And I'm not saying... crypto shouldn't get analyzed under a microscope. I'm not saying people shouldn't be critical of it, right? Because crypto's not perfect. But the things you harp on crypto for, The government, now I know they haven't done it, but literally they can do it. And we're over here talking about, well, this smart contract is locked this and this. It only has 4 multi-signatures and not 5. And then here we have literally, if Janet Yellen wanted to, she can just say, yeah, this coin we just minted, $1 trillion. Here you go, Fed. Go ahead and print this money and give it to the government to pay their bills or give it whatever. Robin, what are your thoughts here? You think this is actually going to happen?
No, this isn't going to happen. They're going to go the traditional way. They'll go to the wire on passing a bill or whatever the name of the proposal is to increase the debt ceiling. They're going to go right to the wire, right to the last day. It may even spill over where certain government services shut down for a week or two until people get extremely fed up and start beating a drum and screaming. And then at that point, at the midnight hour, they'll pass the proposal, and boom, they'll be back to printing and spending money. Now, what they won't do is print where are you going to get all that platinum from, anyways? Like that's all. That's like all. That's
you don't
like,
need a lot of platinum. They said
that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It could be fake. It could be made out of zinc, and they can be like, oh, this coin is worth $1 trillion. They have that power.
Yeah, if you buy a silver coin now, for instance, there is a $20 denomination, but the silver gold content, 1 ounce, is more than that.
Yeah.
So, or $5, depending what it is.
Yeah, it's not like back in the 60s where it's like, a nickel was in silver and the amount of silver in there was worth the 5 cents.
Yeah.
One question arises, just very quickly, guys, if I'm interested, is a preparation for maybe a hyperinflation? So now you go pay with $1 trillion coin. See what happened in Venezuela.
Here's my thing, bro. Is I think if it comes down to it,
I'm gonna go buy some freaking platinum right now. Shoot, I'm get enough for 1 coin. I can be a trillionaire.
Forrest, do you think this is a probability, a possibility, not likely? What are your thoughts here? And are you as shocked as I am? Well, not shocked, but worried as I am that the government can actually do this and it's legal?
I mean, I don't view it as much different than just turning the money printer on the way that they have in the past. I mean, essentially, it's just a roundabout way of fudging the balance sheet, right?
What's the sound the money printer makes, Forrest?
Burr.
That's right. Robin loves that, right, Robin? Money printer go burr?
It's not gonna go burr because it's not a paper. Okay. All right.
It's a coin. It's gonna go. Anyway, sorry, Forrest.
So here, my thing is that what makes it any different than this Zimbabwe? Was it $100 trillion note? You seen these before?
$100 trillion note? No, I have not.
Yeah, here, pull up my laptop, Rocco. I'm trying to find a big picture of it.
You have to pull up your laptop. Pull up your laptop.
Wrong one. There we go. All right. So you have, I got to pull my own laptop. You right? Yeah. So here you have the $100 trillion. Let's see if I can make this bigger.
Wow. $100 trillion.
This is real, and it'll only cost you $600.
Well, but this one is graded. This is why it costs that much.
Get out of here, bro.
It's graded.
The dumbest thing I've seen.
$700.
Anyways, Forrest,
so you know that Zimbabwe has just some of the most historically ugly inflation, and it just shows you what money can look like through a hyperinflationary period over a long period of time. So
we have Rocco pulling up prices of platinum for us.
There we go.
Wow, $1,100, huh? For an ounce.
10 ounces.
10 ounces, 11,000.
Yeah, it's right here.
Credit Suisse. No, thank you. They're not there anymore. Now, Forrest, I kind of cut you off, and then Robin does what he does. He takes over. Do you remember what you were saying? I feel like you were trying to make a point there.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a way to fudge the balance sheet and to keep the Ponzi going. Will they do it? Will they not do it? I have no idea. I don't know how far out of left field this actually is, or if this is within the realm of possibility. But look, I mean, they're scrambling to find a way to keep the party rolling, and they'll just continue to do so. And at the end of the day, this all just feeds back into what can the people in power do to continue to stay in power, keep people just happy enough to get their vote, and keep the party rolling. So not a fan, but I just genuinely don't know whether or not this is feasible.
I honestly think if it came down to it, they would do it. I really do. Honestly, I think they would. Our Congress is so broken and split that it would be a way for the Democrats to say, well, okay, fine, then F you, here you go. Here's the money, Treasury, to pay for whatever you need. Now, I want to move on. I want to move on to some crypto news. We haven't talked crypto yet. So let's take a look at what the crypto markets are doing. So according to CoinMarketCap, we're sitting at $1.18 trillion in total crypto market cap. 24-hour volume ticking up to almost 42 billion, up from about 35 billion yesterday. Bitcoin dominance and ETH dominance have both inched up 0.1%. Speaking of Bitcoin, $28,852, up almost 1% over the last 24 hours. We did see Bitcoin break above 29.2 just a few short hours ago. Now, Forrest, your video, you talked about some Bitcoin levels. We talked about the hodl waves. Maybe let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Has anything changed from what you saw in the charts on Monday? And just kind of what are you seeing there?
Yeah, I'll share my screen here. Really, quite honestly, not a lot has changed. I mean, if we look at what's kind of happened since the Fed meeting the other day, I mean, we've just recently bounced off of this 10x short level. So let me kind of zoom out so people can get a kind of bigger picture of what the Bitcoin chart's doing. Obviously, we had our bear market lows. We came in, we topped out at our 2x long margin pressure level, which I've kind of shown multiple times. But now we've got this 10x short level, and what's happening here is that's recently held. It was reclaimed, I believe, shortly after the Fed meeting or during the Fed meeting, and held as support. Actually, this was I believe going into the Fed meeting yesterday. People were kind of de-risking a little bit, and then Jerome Powell talked, and for the first time in a while, Jerome Powell opened his mouth, and the markets kind of liked it a little bit. I haven't checked on the S&P 500 much today. It's down 0.5%. So the S&P 500 has not been too kind, but Bitcoin's doing fine here. We tested below this 10x short level. The shorts basically stopped coming in. Why did they stop coming in? Because you can no longer hide your liquidation point above this local high of 31K or so. So we bounced off of this level, and now we're just looking to hold support on top of this previous high. So, and which this previous high goes all the way back over to this kind of structural range at around 28.8. So as long as we hold support here, I mean, we can certainly come back up to test 29.8, and then we have kind of the top of our range here around 30 to 31. So, look, Bitcoin's holding up pretty decently in the wake of all these banks going under. We take a brief peek over at the S&P 500. You can see it just got harshly rejected by its kind of range high yesterday. And has just been kind of free falling back down to this demand zone. So Bitcoin definitely holding up better, in my opinion, than the S&P 500.
Can we take a look at silver, Forrest? I know we had a request from one of our community members.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've run a couple of levels here. Let me first get rid of the risk reward levels, and we'll just isolate for the margin pressure levels. So where those leverage longs can start coming back in on 3x leverage, we got our bottom there. We've kind of chopped around this level, 23.26 or so. So if we kind of got a bump and run pattern here, a retest of 23.26 to me would be a buy. We've recently come through and we've broken this downtrend level, and we're starting to consolidate above it. So two things you can do is you can just take that as being a bullish signal and buy silver, which is probably doing well because gold is doing well and banks are going under, and people want to be in these precious metals as a hedge. So you could certainly just buy the breakout here on silver, or you could wait for a retest of 23.26. But if we throw on our risk reward levels, we actually get pretty decently clean levels to trade. So these risk reward levels just measure the risk where that's your risk scenario, this most recent crash, and then our range high is our reward scenario. That 1-to-1 risk reward level has just been a pretty clear pivot level. It held as support. We lost it, and it held as resistance. We reclaimed it. If we zoom in, and TradingView has been kind of super laggy for me the last day or two, but you'll see where once we reclaimed this level and held support on top of it, we took a trip back up to the next level, got cut short by our downtrend line, came back down to the 1-to-1 risk reward, and now we're kind of chopping in this 2-to-1 and 3-to-1 risk reward level and actually breaking through. So you could also look for a retest in the short term at 25.30. Overall, I would say, I don't want to speak on a market that I'm not super familiar with in terms of, its fundamentals, and I don't chart it very frequently. But if I was looking at the same, kind of TA pattern on basically any other chart, I'd say this is a bullish pattern, right? You have your kind of inverse head and shoulders playing out as well, breaking the downtrend line. The stage is set for gold to do well. The stage is set for silver to do well, right? People are wanting to hedge against bank failures. We're now breaking out above this risk reward level. So I see nothing wrong with going long silver in this general vicinity between 23 and 25. What I'd also like to see is taking out this resistance. So I don't love buying into that, kind of structural resistance, but other than that, I think we could go back up and test range highs of $29, $30, and I don't think that would be too crazy. If gold and Bitcoin and any hedge against bank failure does just break out and start ripping, right? If gold breaks out of its range, look for silver to break out of its range and start price exploration. But overall looks pretty bullish here in the short term, getting a little bit of resistance. Maybe look for a peek back down into this range to pick some up and go long if you want to be extra careful. If you just feel like you need some exposure to precious metals and you want to buy now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just know that you may have a short-term downturn to hold through if this resistance kicks in over here. So,
and I want to mention back in 2011, silver did hit an all-time high of $50. So leave that out there. Now, before I move on to the rest of the crypto market, I want to give Robin the floor. Robin, why don't you throw some all-outs out there and welcome some new people and maybe speak?
Yeah, so we do got or if you're new here, say hello so we can have an hola back at you. We got a few new people. We got One Day Rewards, John, Richard M, Tot W100, I La Lepeta, Remedale, Joe, Blank, Barbjide showed something, and to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Hola. Now let's take a look at what the rest of the top 10 is doing, and then we'll take a look at the biggest gainers and losers. So we have Ethereum, $1,877, followed by Tether coming in at $1. Market cap continues to rise, is over $82 billion. Binance token, $324. XRP down to 45.8 cents. Cardano, 39 cents. Rounding out the top 10, we have Doge, Polygon, and Solana. I am looking to pick up some Solana around $20. Turning more bullish on Solana, as you know. And looky, chocolate chip cookie, we got Mr. Senor Pepe is up 57.5% over the last 24 hours. Some of the other biggest gainers, we have Caspa, Woo, the Ric Flair token, Conflux, Flow, Render, Hex is up as well. Some of the biggest losers, not a lot, but we have Leo, Stacks, and Optimism. Looking at the week, again, 619% from Pepe. Biggest loser of the week looks like it's XRD Radix. So Forrest. I'm going to DJ here. Can we look at a Pepe chart?
Sure.
There's a lot of people that have money. I put some money in there. I think Rocco put some money in there. Not sure if Robin did. Not sure if you did. But if people decide, now I want you guys to understand this. If you're going to invest in something like a meme coin, something like Pepe, something that's pumping, just understand chances are you're going to lose money. Okay? So if you're okay with that, it's your money. You earn it. Spend it how you'd like. Just understand the risk. Don't go ham. Try to hit a lottery ticket because that's essentially what you're trying to do. Trying to hit a lottery ticket if you dump all your money into something like Pepe. But if you want some exposure and you want to be a little bit of a DJ like I was, what's Pepe's chart looking like? If what's a good consolidation level if you are trying to get some exposure to Pepe?
Let me pull up the chart here. So we're going to look at the Pepe WETH chart, Pepe wrapped ETH, just because that's going to give us the biggest picture long term. So this is a logarithmic view. So this is just an insane, however many X. So this is Pepe against wrapped Ethereum, right? So you have this initial, huge wave upwards. You have this long-term consolidation. I actually also faded Pepe here on the breakout. You can see I was already charting it. Faded it once again on the breakout.
What's the time frame, by the way, for
it? Gets to a point where when you've got a meme coin and it's just got a multi-hundred million, it's got a $670 million market cap. The potential multiples that it can do diminishes as it goes up. So, if this goes to the size of a major layer one, goes into the top 20, you're looking at at most a 10x. If you're putting money into something at a meme coin at a $670 million market cap, and we've seen this with a lot of meme coins in the past, the only two that have really held up is Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, and even those see 80% drawdowns, 90% drawdowns. It's just the risk reward for me is just not there. Even though hindsight's 2020, this would have worked out great. We are, if you're an Elliott wave person, so this is basically wave one, right? Your first corrective wave, which is kind of your down wave two. Then we had, wave three on the way back up, wave four correction, and it appears that we are going into wave five here. So, look, don't listen to me because I faded this thing over and over and over again, and I've been wrong. But the way these things usually work is by the time you capitulate and you actually buy some, that's when it starts crashing and you find yourself in a 50%, 60% correction. Also, even if you bought it here, right, you had to sit through a 55% correction, right? 55% correction before, and you had to hodl through it to actually see that reward.
What's the time frame on that chart for us?
This is the hourly chart.
Okay.
This is the hourly chart. Yeah. So this was launched April 14th or so. Guys, this is a 20-day old coin. The risk here is high. $670 million market cap. It's not something that I am investing in. It definitely has captured people's attention. I will say that, hype cycles, usually if you go and look at the length of time that something pumps for and dominates the airwaves for and dominates the Twitter timeline and videos, it's usually around 20 days. Sometimes you'll get something that can last 30, 40, or 50 days. But usually these huge momentum impulses last around 20 days. And that's where we're at right now with Pepe. It appears that we are, if you're an Elliott wave person, we're in that kind of final that final Elliott wave. How high it'll go, I can't even begin to predict. People have been talking about major exchange listings like maybe Coinbase or Binance. I don't know if any of that is true. But yeah, I would just certainly proceed with caution here. And if you want to trade meme coins, look, the best pattern is the pattern that I've got mapped out, right? You just draw your downtrend line and wait for the breakout on that downtrend line. Draw your downtrend line, wait for the breakout on that off the consolidation, right? You could have gotten in here on the breakthrough of the downtrend line and you'd be up 66%, right? So that's the pattern you want to trade if you're going to trade meme coins. That's the most reliable one that I've found. So
I'm not an Elliott waves person. What comes after wave number 5? Is there a wave number 6, 7, or?
No, wave number 5 is usually followed by a really nasty ABC correction. Something like that is what I would expect. So you see this pattern all the time. You get your dead cat bounce. You can make some money on the dead cat bounce, and then you retrace back. I'm not an Elliott wave expert, but yeah, 5 wave is the last wave.
So you're saying no Lambo or
No what?
no Lambo?
Some people have already made a couple Lambos on Pepe, but look, 5 waves can be crazy. Like five waves can be just insane and run super high. And this looks like it's, we already have made a new high recently. So this technically could be it, but the 5 waves can run high. But wherever this starts consolidating again, I would be looking to, I personally would not be betting on an additional wave past the wave that we're in right now, personally.
Okay. Thank you for that, Forrest. I want to talk about something one of our community members brought up. So we have the Gala V2 contract swap happening on May 15th. And I want you guys to understand something. And Forrest, I know you've been a part of a few airdrops where it went from V1 to V2 or just airdrops in general. And so with this specific one, and Jimmy posted this in our Discord yesterday, he posted a link to the smart contract to make sure your custodial wallet is good. You're going to get the airdrop. And so what I would recommend doing is if you have it on Coinbase or any centralized exchange, Coinbase has flat out came out and said they're not supporting it. Now that could change, but if you have Gala V1 tokens, if you have Gala tokens now, you have them on exchange, would highly, highly recommend taking those off and custodying them yourself, whether it's through a ledger or I'd even recommend a MetaMask wallet. Hop into our Discord. I will pin the comment Jimmy made with the link in there to make sure that your wallet or your coins are good to go for the airdrop. So don't get caught having your Gala tokens on an exchange, especially if you have a lot of money. And then next thing you know, like, well, where are my V2 tokens? Oh, we don't support that. And then then you got to go through steps or you might even lose out on it. So anything you want to add to that for us? I know we have a lot of people in here that have Gala tokens. Anything from your experience that we can maybe help prepare the community to make sure that they get their money?
I would just read the documentation, go to the website, read whatever they're putting out about it, and make sure that you follow the instructions from the official website. Don't listen to anybody that's DMing you or putting out tweets or anything like that. Just go to the official website, the official Twitter profiles. Understand that those things can be hacked. So don't jump on anything too fast. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So if somebody says, "Oh, you only have 1 hour to claim, you got to do it now and go here," that's probably a scam. Otherwise, just read the official documentation from the official sources and prepare accordingly.
Yep. Robbie, got anything to add before I move on? Where's Robin? Is he here?
Love me some Gala. No. I would just say, well, first of all, if you're buying Gala tokens, it's already like a small cap. Is it even in the top 100 anymore? I don't think it is. Whoa. I'm not just throwing any shade at Gala. I'm just saying that if you're okay, Gala is number 131 on the coin market cap list.
Be careful.
If you're playing in this territory, why are you keeping it on an exchange? Like, you know better. You know to custody that thing yourself. Like, there's no reason you need to be. Don't try to sit here and pretend like you don't know how to set up a MetaMask wallet. Don't even pretend like you don't know how to set up a hardware wallet. Like, at this point, if you're holding big chunks of Gala token number 133 and it's in a gaming space, which you're probably pretty tech savvy if you're interested in this, stop being lazy. That's all I'll say.
Wow. Well, I know I'm going to get a phone call after the show, and I know who it's going to be from. All right. So let's get into some crypto news. But before we get into the news, guys, we're at 194 viewers and only 94 likes.
Hold on. Where's my like button sign at? Why aren't you repping with the like button sign?
Rocco, please help me. Hold on.
We do have some new people here.
Q and Rocco,
if you're new here, say hello so that way we can drop an whole lot back at you. We got Namita D, Andre Brown, Santiago, Luke, Michael with an E, and then we got the Bet Unit. So to all of you, hola, and welcome to Sin City Crypto. Hit that like button, guys.
Like the video. Please help us. Please help. For just one like a day, you can help preserve this stream. Okay. Now.
You get one Pepe for each like.
Yeah, we'll give everyone one Pepe. It'll cost us more money to send that one Pepe, but hey. All right, so we got some great news, man. I am so happy to share this news. U.S. court orders the SEC to respond to Coinbase allegations within 10 days. Now, if you guys don't remember, Coinbase filed with the court. That's right.
That's right.
Coinbase filed with the court and said, hey, we submitted a question. We said, please clarify for our business over almost a year ago. And they haven't responded. Court, can you make them do it? Make them. And the court said, sure, Coinbase, here you go. We'll do it. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has been ordered by a U.S. court to respond to Coinbase's complaint over how it applies securities laws to digital assets. The SEC must file its response within 10 days. And then Coinbase has 7 days to file another response thereafter. Robin, I feel like the SEC's like, I feel like the courts are maybe getting tired of these guys and tired of Gary Gensler. I don't know. What do you think?
This could end up shaping up to be. So this is such a small story today, and I asked you earlier. I was like, "Are we covering this?" And you're like, well, "What is it?" And I had to go searching and digging for it, and it's something that people aren't talking about. But if you think about what the implications of this could mean, it could essentially give clarity. Everything that Congress has been begging for, the fact that Gary Gensler is sitting here testifying won't say whether Ethereum is a security or commodity. This essentially could be that, right? It could be the beginning framework of what is a commodity, security, digital asset, what is more likely to be sued over the SEC.
I want to clarify, though. That is the one option. The one option is to say, yeah, we will clarify. The second option is to say, no, we won't clarify. But if the SEC says, no, we won't clarify, good luck. Good luck in court. Good luck with these lawsuits. Good luck going after any other exchange. Good luck going after a project. So they're in a rock and a hard place here. Go ahead, Rob.
That's what I'm saying is that they're going to have a response. Now, whether the response is the response that Coinbase wants or their response is, hey, we're going to leave everything cloudy, then as you mentioned, good luck on court cases. Because if a judge asks you, hey, what is a security and a commodity? And, how are you differentiating the two? Because obviously you think Bitcoin's a commodity. So at what point did it switch over? And if they can't answer the judge's question, then how on earth are the companies that are running, these crypto DAOs and foundations, how are they supposed to determine if they're breaking the law or not? And remember, these are just kind of like almost like Kickstarters. You know what I mean? Like the crypto is they have a foundation that puts together the code, issues tokens out, gets it going, has improvement proposals, and then after it's supposed to be decentralized, they take their hands off the steering wheel, and then they just innovated technology. That's the idea or the premise. We need some clarity, and I think that we actually might have some here coming up, man. I'm very bullish on this. I think we might get something that we can use in court, or at least some clarity on what is and what isn't a security.
Boris, do you share the same sentiment with Rob? Are you as bullish as he is? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that Gary Gensler has been so off base, and we've seen judges, like the judge in the case, I believe it was like regarding the Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF, like the judge had kind of had enough of the SEC and was more in favor of being against the SEC on that one. So look, I think it's become super clear to the average person inside of crypto or outside of crypto how off base and out of left field that Gary Gensler and his strategies have been, and how anti-crypto he's been, and how unclear and how unwilling he's been to draw clear boundaries of what's a security and what's a crypto asset, what's a commodity. So Yeah, this is good. I think if you can bring in a third party that's outside of the SEC, and you can bring in the courts to this, then that's a good thing. And I'm glad Coinbase is doing that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, right, this puts the pressure on Gary Gensler and the SEC. No more just leaving people on red. No more getting the text message and seeing it and be like, yeah, I'm not going to respond to that. No, their feet are being put to the fire.
All the time.
The feet are being put to the fire. I know you do it all the time. The feet are being put to the fire, and I hope the soles of their feet just completely burn. I hope they absolutely burn, because at the end of the day, a court orders you to do something. A judge, or you can't just leave them on red. You can't just, not talk about it. It's a yes or no. A yes, they're gonna have to clarify.
How juicy would it be if in 10 days? I think it's less likely, but just say, hypothetically speaking, they deliver what Coinbase wants, what the judge wants, and in 10 days we can have the parameters for what is and what isn't a security in the digital asset space.
That would be.
It's a realistic possibility.
It is. But I don't think.
I'm just saying, man.
I don't think. I kind of agree with Forrest's take on this. I don't think we're going to get a clear answer from the SEC until the Ripple lawsuit.
We won't. We probably won't. But I'm just saying, there's a chance. There's a chance.
I want to give a quick shout out. We got Tom Crown up in here. TC, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Also, some other new people in here as well. Poor Man, Grid, RPM, Daniel, Ray, and Raymond, and then we got Diamond as well. So, hola,
Diamond subs.
Cincinnati Crypto.
You guys got anything to add to this before I move on?
No.
Okay. Now let's move on. We have some other Coinbase news. This not so good. Well, I guess depends on how you look at it. Coinbase ceases their loan services as regulatory pressure intensifies. This is sourced from BN Crypto. The U.S. crypto exchange Coinbase will cease issuing Bitcoin-backed loans through its Coinbase Borrow service as of May 10th. Coinbase Borrow provides loans of as much as $1 million against Bitcoin collateral, but only in certain U.S. states. The firm did not clarify whether the termination of the loan service was due to regulatory pressure. One can only assume. The number of people also who download the Coinbase app continues to decline. Now, Forrest, are you at all worried? Now, of course, we're speculating here that this was due to the pressure they're facing regulatorily. But do you have any worry or do you think it's possible that Coinbase, out of a complete abundance of caution, will start delisting tokens? Will start shutting off some of their services? I don't know. Do you worry about that? Like, is the pressure that steep for them from the SEC and their potential lawsuit moving forward that they might start doing stuff like that?
To my knowledge, Coinbase actually has been fairly strict, and I know they've listed in the bull market particularly. They did list some kind of lower quality assets than what you would think. They certainly lowered their standard, as all exchanges did, to capitalize on the money making opportunity, because essentially people wanted really garbage tokens to trade and speculate on. So potentially we see some delistings, but I still believe that Coinbase probably has some of the higher standards in the space for what actually gets listed. Yeah, there's some coins that are just complete garbage, sure, but probably not mass delistings unless we get that clarity, right? If we get clarity and they say these tokens are securities, these are not, then sure, I think Coinbase would probably comply with that, unless they're way off base and they say Ethereum's a security, which they're SEC's trying to. But if there was just like a clear normal guide, like, hey, you have to have this much decentralization, if more than 30% of the token is in one wallet, then or in control of one party, then that if they come up with something reasonable, then yeah, I think Coinbase would probably comply. The lending or the loan services, that's not too big. I mean, we've already seen so many companies go under from that, like BlockFi and Celsius and Voyager. That's not, to me, a huge hit, but we'll see. I think Coinbase is still going to be okay.
Rob, what are your thoughts? Kind of same question, and when
Well, in the eyes of the SEC and U.S. government and the regulators, if you're offering any services outside of buying and selling Bitcoin, I think you run a risk of being sued by the SEC. And whether it's Ethereum, I know that one probably has the least amount of risk in the altcoins, but I think that's just the world we live in with the uncertainty. You don't know what the hell Gary Gensler and his goons are going to do. I mean, you're not allowed to offer any staking services. You're not allowed to do any derivatives trading. The rules are just put into place right now, or the only clear thing that you can do that would be deemed okay in the SEC's eyes is just to buy and sell Bitcoin, which makes no sense to me because Coinbase, got approved to be a publicly traded company and they're on the stock exchange. Gary Gensler and his team gave the approval for them to be listed, and yet you're suing them for services that they were offering before any of this happened. And I know they're not getting sued yet on the loan, but they're obviously doing it out of fear. They're doing it out of fear, right?
It is so backwards. Like, you literally reviewed their application. Coinbase's like, hey, this is our company. This is what we do. We offer staking rewards. We list these tokens. We buy, sell, trade. We custody. We do this. We do that. And the SEC is like, okay, cool. Yeah, you can go public. And then now they're coming back years later and be like, well, actually, you see what happened was, I don't know, something happened, but yeah, we're going to sue you now. It's so ass backwards. It's complete BS, and it's very frustrating. And it's literally just
the head of the snake, Gary Gensler. I'm telling you, and we all these new videos, all these videos have surfaced up as of lately after that SEC or after he testifying in Congress, and he's out here saying that 75%. And this was only 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever it was. Is 75% of crypto assets are commodities and only 25% are securities. Literally said that in a professional environment, talking to students at MIT. And now that he is in this new role that's just probably getting influenced and by donations and dollars and anyways, regardless of the motive, all of a sudden it's switched and now there's only one commodity. And so instead of it being 75% commodities, now you have, and mathematically speaking, less than 1% of crypto assets are commodities at this point. And you can even, if you took all the meme coins and all the dead projects, you could even say it's probably 0.001% of the digital asset space is commodities, while 99.999% are securities. A stark contrast to what this man said only 6 years ago while wearing a professional hat, teaching a college course at MIT as an accredited professor, saying the exact opposite. So,
Robin, I actually doing the numbers here real quick. 23,827, and it looks like it is 0.00000000419% of crypto assets are commodities, and that is just Bitcoin.
You can double it if you throw Ethereum in there. Double it if you throw Ethereum in there.
Should I keep that or double it and give it to the next person? All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Joseph Robinette Biden. My apologies. He is, they want to tax crypto miners 30%. To fight the climate? Oh my God, Bitcoin miners, they're taking energy away. They're using all the renewables that other people would use. They're causing emissions, bad for the environment. We got to charge them 30%. And let me just read this, okay? According to Yahoo News, the Council of Economic Advisors, which is an agency within the U.S. Executive Office of the President, is pushing for a digital asset mining energy called the Dame tax. This is a quote, crypto miners' high energy consumption has negative spillovers on the environment, quality of life, and electricity grids where these firms locate across the country. He added that if enacted, mining companies would respond by leaving American shores, triggering an out. Oh, this is from Dennis Porter. He's the CEO of Satoshi Action Fund. He's saying, if enacted, if this happens, mining companies would leave America, triggering an outflow of innovation and capital into more friendly jurisdictions. Here's the funny part. Here is the funny part. Okay? You just look at the US and China, okay? Look at the CO2 emissions from the US. Look at the CO2 emissions from China, okay? If you care about the environment, as you say, because the global climate, the climate thing is not just US. It's not like the US has their own climate, their ozone layer, and the rest of the world has a different one. It's the same thing. We're all under the same earth, the same planet. So what's going to happen is you enact this 30% tax. Guess what's going to happen? Crypto miners are going to be like, fine, we'll go to Russia. We'll go to Kazakhstan. We'll go to Iraq. We'll go to the Middle East, where energy there is much dirtier. They don't have as much renewable energy. They use crude oil, coal mining. They move away from what they're doing and building the infrastructure and being more green and working their way towards being more green. And they'll actually move backwards and harm the environment more. So what is it really? Do you really care about the environment? Because all that's going to happen is that. Is America going to say, fine, we'll go overseas. We won't care about renewables because we'll save money, right? It costs more money for them to mine using other sources of energy than coal. That's my take on it. What are your thoughts, Robin?
I think this could be a nail in the coffin for miners in the States, because the profit margins, at least during the bear markets, and you can't model your business to only operate during bull markets. And so you got to look at it from a sustainability aspect as far as running my business. Can I sustainably run this business, pay my bills in 2.5 years that the market is cooling down? And then, yes, I can make more money and stay afloat on the other 1.5 to 2 years that the bull market is just popping off. But the thing is in the down times, the profit margins are less than 30%. So you're going to put all miners out of business in the United States in the long term. Perhaps by the time they pass this bill, let's just say hypothetically speaking, if they were to pass this bill, perhaps by the time it gets passed or whatever, we're rallying into another bull market and they can cover those costs. But if the cycles continue, which I'm assuming they would, and we're going to have a sell-off and another bear market after the next bull market, these mining companies are going to have to go abroad. They're going to have to leave if they want to stay afloat. And that hurts U.S. business. I mean, they are a part of the U.S. stock exchange. They have a ton of value there that's being traded. That is going to leave. The jobs that are created are going to go. And then the surplus energy that they are consuming that otherwise would have went to waste or not used or dissipated, that is not going to be used once again. And I was looking at, I forget which miner it was, but one of the miners are set up outside of a wind farm in Texas, one of the big ones. And so you have all the wind turbines there, and literally on site, not even more than 500 feet away from the wind turbines, you have just rows and rows and rows of miners. And the company that's in charge of the wind turbines, it literally came out and said, hey, normally these 5 or 6 wind turbines are turned off because we have a surplus of energy during the winter time. During the summer, we turn them all on, but during the winter time, they're just all inactive. They're not even being used. And so now you have an opportunity for a company to generate revenue and to build more wind turbines because they have more money. Because here's the thing, if you're any business, whether you're selling, let's just say you're selling cars, if all of a sudden you're selling 30% more cars this annual year, then you can expand and buy another lot, another dealership. And so if the government is looking to have more green initiatives and have more green projects, wouldn't you want the companies that are providing the infrastructure to be more profitable, so that way they can roll their profits into more wind turbines, perhaps other plants, right? It makes sense. And then what is brushed under the rug is the simple fact that nobody's talking about where the energy is coming from. If the energy source that the miner is plugged into, if that is a green source, then at that point there's there's no carbon emissions, right?
But their argument, Robin, is, oh, these Bitcoin miners, all these renewables, they're taking that away from what regular people would use. I think the problem is this. The problem is they do not see Bitcoin's energy uses as being for a good purpose, right? Because the amount of video games that are played in this country emit more CO2 and use more power than Bitcoin does, right? So you can compare, they always compare, oh, it uses more energy than the whole country of Argentina and this and that. Problem is, in their eyes, that energy usage is not for a good reason. And like you mentioned, you have these miners that are constantly looking to bring their break-even price down, to be more profitable. And by doing so, they reinvest a lot of their money, especially during bull markets, into infrastructure, right? And in turn, these creates really high-paying jobs for people. But they never look at that. They always look at, oh, it's bad for the environment. It's blah, 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 blah. Forrest, what do you think the chances of this passing are? And if it does, is that going to affect Bitcoin in your opinion? We can assume it's going to go somewhere else, but it's not as easy as just, all right, let's just pick everything up and move to Russia, right? You got stuff that's plugged in. You got tons of equipment, millions of dollars. What are your thoughts?
So I think this is trying to accomplish two things: posturing for the environmental vote, and also trying to just slow crypto down if it does pass. Whether or not it passes, no idea. I don't know who's in support of it and who's not in support of it. I think I'm not in favor of it, but you guys have heard my, albeit very unpopular opinions on Bitcoin and proof of work. I think Bitcoin mining is a really stupid business model, personally. If you just look at mathematically the halving cycles, your Bitcoin reward is getting cut in half every 4 years, and you're going to have to you're either going to depend on Bitcoin's price doubling or more, or bringing your energy costs down by 50% or more every 4 years. So I think it's a really bad business model because you really can't control for the price of Bitcoin and you can't control for the price of energy. I also think that Bitcoin mining in general, proof of work in general, is an inferior consensus mechanism to proof of stake. So look, at the end of the day, on the topic of this particular bill, I think it's somewhat irrelevant. It's going to be really bad for Bitcoin mining, but if it passes, it's just accelerating what I believe is already going to happen. I think the fact that, the Bitcoin network, 28 million Bitcoin dollars worth of Bitcoin is mined every single day. And the vast majority of that is sold off into the open market to cover the cost of energy is extraordinarily wasteful when you have proof of stake mechanisms that cost a fraction of a percentage to provide, a decentralization and security. So people can call me an ETH maxi or a proof of stake maxi. I just think it's a better consensus model. And I just think, this will be bad for Bitcoin, but I think with or without this tax, Bitcoin mining is a bad business model.
And I love that you're not afraid to go against the grain here, and I disagree with your stance, but I like the fact that we can sit here and have a conversation about your views, my views, and still actually like each other. The politicians should try that out, and people in America try that out. It actually works pretty well. I want to move on. Hold on, Robin. Why don't you give some love to the chat? Well, Larry, I see Larry hanging out over here. Why don't you? Go ahead. Take center stage.
Right,
Larry, what's up, Larry?
guys are new here, say hello. So we're dropping Ola at you. We got Randomness, Grim37, Grizzly Wicks, also G4 Life, Johnny Tupac, Nas, Alex81, and Glory Hole. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Did you do that on purpose? Say glory hole last so you can say hola to the glory hole? That's just weird, man. That's just... guys, we're one like away from a leprechaun appearing with a pot of gold. And yes, I am spending Jimmy's money without him knowing. All right. I want to move on to from a Democratic president who's anti-crypto to a Democratic presidential nominee who's going to be running against this anti-crypto president, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and this pretty good Twitter thread he put out. I'm going to read it, okay? Because anytime we talk about politicians, crypto, in a negative light, it's always Democrats, okay? So I want to shed some light on a Democratic candidate who is actually pro-crypto, and I think this is very important. When was the last time an area or a topic or anything was bipartisan, where we had people from both sides that came out and stood up against it or for it? And in this case, it's for it, and that is Bitcoin. And this is from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Cryptocurrencies led by Bitcoin, along with other crypto technologies, are a major innovation engine. It is a mistake for the U.S. government to hobble the industry and drive innovation elsewhere. Biden's proposed 30% tax on cryptocurrency mining is a bad idea. He goes on to say, yes, energy use is a concern, though somewhat overstated, but Bitcoin mining uses about the same as video games, and no one is calling for a ban on those. The environmental argument is selective pretext to suppress anything that threatens elite power structures. Bitcoin, for example, some advocate tight control of cryptocurrencies to prevent their use by criminals. But it isn't just criminals who want privacy. So do descendants and ordinary citizens. Governments harass their enemies and crush dissent by controlling bank accounts and payment platforms. Until we restore trust in governments, never, which is a distant prospect, he even sees it. We need cash and crypto to ensure freedom. Just a biodiverse ecosystem is a resilient ecosystem. So too will our economy be more resilient if it has a diverse ecology of currencies, not just a single, centrally controlled one. We are seeing today how fragile our over-centralized system is. Now, I'm not sure if you guys saw this or you guys read this, but Forrest, what's your knee-jerk reaction? What are your thoughts here? And how important is this that a Democratic presidential nominee, when Democrats are seen as more anti-crypto, or at least more vocal about it? Now, there's anti-crypto on both sides, but at least they're a little more vocal about it. What does this say? Does this make you more bullish on regulation moving forward? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so totally agree with like most of what he says. Yeah, I agree. This is generally a bad idea to come in and tax Bitcoin mining 30%. I think I'm pretty not. I'm not going to say I'm anti-climate, but I don't agree with like the overall like climate change and environmental narrative and what's often drives them. That's a different discussion. You have like electric vehicles that end up costing more energy to the batteries, do more damage to the environment than they actually, so sure. But I agree with him here on that. This is a terrible idea. What's really interesting here is he's coming in and creating like for some people, crypto and Bitcoin and the monetary system makes them like a one issue voter, and he's going to come in and scoop like just a ton of potential votes just being pro crypto. And you have a situation where you've got like two really splitting candidates, and this is getting a little more political, but you have like, I think the poll was like 70% of Democrats don't think Biden should run again. And I don't know the timing of that poll. I just looked it up. It was like I think it was like April, like 70%. And that was like Democrats in New York City or something like that. A lot of people don't want Biden. A lot of people, the front runner on the other side is Trump, and he's got, Trump is very popular with a certain amount of, his following, but he's also a very divisive, figure, and a lot of people don't want Trump. And now you've got somebody coming in that's saying they're pro crypto, but they're also on the Democrat side. And now all of a sudden somebody's entered the political landscape that could really split the vote, take votes away from Biden and potentially away from a conservative candidate as well. So this is super interesting. I think it may be a little bit tactical, but I generally agree with what he's saying here in general.
You guys think this says, and Rob, you can share your general thoughts, but I want to ask a point of question. Do you guys think this says more about these politicians understanding that, hey, you take an anti-crypto stance, it's going to harm your bid at winning an election or maybe even a re-election in the case of Elizabeth Warren?
I'm just curious if there's a real chance that we get a new Democratic nominee for the next presidential election. And
has that ever happened, by the way? Has that ever happened? The only person
I know there's been
George
people
Bush
running,
Sr.,
but I don't know
I
if anybody's
believe.
ever been.
I think George Bush Sr. is the only one that potentially comes to mind. But guys in the chat, feel free to correct me here. But has it ever happened where a sitting president doesn't run for re-election, or I mean, I know it's happened before, but in the circumstances,
I know sometimes they don't. I know they don't run, but sometimes there's some presidents that only did one term. But my thing is it even feasible? I mean, I know he's running, so I know it's a possibility. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm just saying, is it a realistic possibility that he could win the nomination? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I would like it. I think most of us here agree the man might be a little past his prime as far as
who's that?
Biden.
Nah, he's in his prime, bro. Firing on all cylinders.
I'm sorry,
all
man.
All the fluids are topped off.
And the thing is I generally typically vote more Democrat than I do Republican. But lately my stance has been 100%, whoever is the most pro crypto candidate. So my own party out of the way, but I can't vote for Biden, man. He's not there, man. He's a puppet. He's just lost, man. He's just like wandering around. I don't know. I just think that since he came into office, it's been kind of a surprise to see just how disconnected he is from just normal functions, man. And I think these bill that 30% bill, I think it's something that got put on his desk, and they were told, yeah, you need to pay, we should do this, and he was just like, okay. So I think we need a free thinker, somebody that can stand up for themselves. So
I'm putting it out an APB for Jimmy. Jimmy, where are you? We promised a leprechaun, and the leprechaun's. But Rob, do you agree with what he said in his tweet, though? Is there anything you don't agree with? It's interesting to me that a potential presidential candidate comes out and says the trust in government is not there. And this is the person running for the highest level of government.
I mean, yeah. And we saw Trump won an election by saying drain the swamp, and he's going to change everything. And so I think right now you want to capitalize on that, right? You want to capitalize on the fact that the government system right now is failing. The banking system right now is failing. We're seeing the effects of money printing. We've lost our purchasing power. And because that's just the reality we live in, people are going to be drawn to a polarizing anti-establishment kind of narrative. And so if you're running, it would be wise for you to say, hey, politics are broken. Elect me and I'll fix things. And so I think that's what he's going to do. I think that's the drum that he's beating. Just pretty excited that he's pro crypto though. So big shout out to Brokey Yoshi. My man here has got 10 gifted memberships. And so if you received a membership, you have access to our members only content and our amazing emojis as well. We have a few new people here: Honda Man, Anthony, Big Kid Energy, Luis, and then River, and and Kevin Davies. To all of you, hola, welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Parrots talk, right? Can you train Larry to say hola? Like, what does he do?
I've been trying to get him to say hola. Come on, nigga, say hola, hola. No, he ain't got it. So.
He said, "F you, bruh." Guys, we're done. We're gonna let Forrest go. Forrest, thank you as always for joining, my friend. Guys, if you're not following Forrest on Twitter, go follow him. Please do yourself a favor. He puts out great content at 00Forrest. That's Forrest with 2 R's. Also, go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Sistine Research on YouTube. If you want daily TA, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He also joins our show every single Friday. This week was a little different. We have a crap load of people in studio tomorrow. And so, we kindly asked Forrest to come on Thursday. And he said yes. So Forrest, we appreciate you, man. You're always helping out. Always ready, man, when we need your help. And so to that, my friend, thank you. We appreciate you. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? Anything exciting happening? I heard you taking some dancing classes over the weekend. Maybe share your thoughts on that.
Dancing classes. I don't know about that. No. What's going on this weekend?
Any NFTs you're minting?
Nothing. I can't think of anything. What's up?
Any NFTs you're minting? Is there a specific research paper you might be working on? Maybe give us a little sneak peek. Maybe.
I've got an NFT project that I've heard. It's an old NFT project that somebody big is stepping in to help out with and bring back to life. And I will be releasing a research project on that, or a research paper on that. Today I've just been kind of memeing around in the Solana meme coin world. I don't think anything's gonna really take off there to, Pepe levels, but just kind of having fun trading a little bit. Otherwise, guys, diversification. Be smart. It's tempting to degen in because you see Pepe doing really well.
What's wrong with you, man?
But don't get trapped. Losing money on stupid bets, guys. This is when we're still in a bear market rally. This is when you can really actually set the foundation for a really successful bull market in the next time we get the Bitcoin halving. So, hope everyone has a great week. As always, it's a pleasure coming on here. I genuinely appreciate you guys bringing me on. It's always great. So
we appreciate you, bro, and we look forward to seeing you again on Friday. Forrest, take care, brother.
Thank you.
See you guys. Peace.
All right.
Later.
Now, before we sign off, I'd like to give one last shout out to the sponsor who brought you today's live show. That is Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you guys want more information, head over to their website. The website will pop up on the screen here in a couple seconds, or you can just go to the description of this video and simply click the link. Also, speaking of links, there's a bunch of links in our video today. Links to support the channel, links that are affiliate links that take you to places like our social medias like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, our merchandise store. Don't be cheap. Go buy some merch. If you're a Whale member, you get 10% off. So go check that out. Go check out everything.
Tomorrow's show is going to be real hot, man. We got XRP Jenna in the house.
We have so many people in here that I had to reject a couple people from coming to the studio because it's going to be packed.
Mm-hmm. Also, we got GMC TV and World's Lowest is also new here. So, hola! Welcome.
Now, with that being said, Rocco, what is that? What is that?
That's alert for Jimmy, if we see it.
Oh, yeah. I put it on APB for Jimmy. Can't find him. Oh, wait, I'm going to call him after the show today. Give him some crap. Guys, not guys, but specifically Rocco, Larry. Look at me, Larry. Look at my finger tornado. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate you spending your Thursday with us. Make sure to come back tomorrow for another amazing show. Same time, same place. On behalf of myself, Robin, Rocco, Forrest, we love you guys. Until tomorrow, take care. Peace.